you and from Tom Heckert that you guys were sweating out whether or not Jabal Sheard would be there for you, and then when you got the chance when he was there, you just jumped on it because you really liked him that much.
Well, we did, and we really thought he was a terrific player. He was a guy that if he was there, we wanted to take, and so as you go through each pick, I don't know about sweating it out, but you're just hoping that the guy you want doesn't get picked, and so it worked out twice today.
Is that a case, Pat, where you've got your board and it really comes down there where you're saying, hey, there's our guy, and there was no hesitation with him?
Well, the board is kind of a dynamic thing. We stack the players the way we like them, and then there's an order that you pick them, and then you have an idea of the teams above you, what they might pick. And so if you know a team or two above you, it might be looking to draft a defensive lineman, or in the case of the receiver right before you, a receiver. That's when you start to say, darn, okay, what happens if they do? And so that's the sweat part, I guess.
Well, I heard you last night with the guys talking about that now as a head coach, you're looking at both sides of the ball, but we finally got yourself a wide receiver today.
Yeah, we feel good about Greg. We spent a lot of time with him. Once you watch the tape, you see he's a guy that can be very productive. And so when we felt like that was the case, then we did spend a lot of time with him to get to know Greg. And we feel real good about what he is as a person and as a player. And we feel like he'll be very productive for us.
With a guy like Greg Little, is he a guy that maybe if he plays in 2010, he's selected a little bit earlier because of his size and speed?
I don't know that. I think you see guys playing at earlier ages in college, so we felt like we had enough tape on him to see what kind of a player he is. And then there's so much that goes into the evaluation process, starting with the combine, and then their personal workouts back at home, and then all the video and tape, as well as all the interview situations. So you have a lot of contact with these players through the process, and we felt good every step of the way.
Boy, I'll tell you what, I know he had a basketball background. He was a heck of a basketball player. He must have been a great rebounder, because when they showed him on the highlight reel as a football player, he got great position, it seemed, all the time, and could just get in front of a defensive back and really body himself to get the ball.
Yeah, he's a big receiver that plays big. There's times when you have a taller receiver that won't go up and get the football, but it's obvious based on what we saw on the clips that he'll go up and get a ball, and I think that's key.
You had a lot of questions in there about what kind of wide receiver you look for in a West Coast offense. Actually, I would imagine it's a guy with yards after the catch, and this guy was a former running back at one point in his career.
He was a running back, and again, yards after catch are very important. Obviously, it starts with the quarterback throwing an accurate ball, but nothing happens if the receiver doesn't separate. And so when he catches the football, then you can take a 5 or 6 yard completion and make it into much more. And then beyond that, of course, getting open is then being able to catch the ball, and I think he's got terrific hands.
With both of the players that were selected today, how much does it play into it at all that they both played for coaches that have coached in the NFL before they came out of college? Or does that not matter at all in helping those guys get here?
I'm sure there's some development that along the way where that's helped that player. And, obviously the guys that they played for had done a good job with them. So it does help us because they're playing in more pro-style type situations where you get to evaluate them and project what their success might be at this level. And so it does help to some degree.
Well, Pat, you've still got another 6 more picks ready to go in this draft. A chance yet of maybe moving into this third round tonight. Tom indicated that you'd keep the door open for that.
Yeah, we're going to. I think until we finish the third round here, there's teams that are trying to move around and do things to try to target a player they might want. So that being the case, we may get back in the ball game here the rest of the night.
But so far, Deacon may not like that. That means he's got to stay.
But so far, so good. You're smiling. I know that this is the time of year where I guess we went across the league. Everybody's kind of happy. But just really listening to you and Tom talk about the way this draft has gone and the picks you're able to add, that you're very pleased with what you've been able to do to this point.
Well, we're trying to develop a team that's going to win football games, and we feel like what's happened in the draft so far, we feel like we're taking steps and making strides toward doing those things.
Well, hopefully the days come when you'll be able to start coaching them all too.
Yeah.
That day's come. All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
You're looking for a team with chemistry. Chemistry between you and Tom is pretty special too, isn't it?
I think so. You know, I've gained a huge appreciation for Tom the years that we've been together, and he's really good. I mean, he's really good and he knows this business. He knows this draft process. He knows what a player is. We've worked in situations where we were in Philadelphia where we were building a team, and then in situations where we're trying to keep it at a high level. And so Tom knows what he's doing. That coupled with obviously the great experience of Coach Holmgren, and so I feel good about it. I really do, and I think he knows where I'm coming from, Tom, and my intentions for how to coach the team. And so it's easy, I think, to get along when you know how both guys are going to react.
And really then in that short time frame, just a quick follow-up, Pat, you've pretty much talked over these players with Tom before you're really on that clock. So when that time comes, it's not where you're really, well, what do you think here and that so much. You've kind of already had that discussion is what you're saying, correct?
No question. There's hours and hours of preparation that go into the draft. And so once you decide what you think about a player, you stack them up, you cut them up, you restack them, you talk about him. If he's here, who will we take? And so there's been a lot of conversation going into it. We have an idea of the players we're looking for and the ones we want to get. And then as we go through the draft, if the guys we're looking for are there, we pick them.
Well, good luck in picking some more, okay, Coach?
Thanks, Coach.
Browns head coach Pat Shurmur, the Browns completing the round 2 with 2 picks today against